Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now this is a continuation on the series that I'm doing where I show the 10 worst songs from my 10 favourite bands. The last one was a bonus one and it was the Beatles because I always fancied doing that. But this one is the Smiths. Now I got into the Smiths in 1983 with this Charming Man single and it blew me away. And I was delighted as well because the Jam had split up about a year previous, and although the Style Council were releasing some decent singles, they weren't the Jam. So the Smiths were the new band, and I followed them right up to 1987 whenever they split up. I bought all the 7-inch singles, a few of the 12-inch singles, and all the albums, including the 2 compilations and the live album. And this list is really difficult because whenever I was sorting this out, there's about 3 or 4 songs just came to mind straight in there, but getting the other 6 was so difficult because I do actually like the bottom half or the top half of this list. But we shall start, and the first one up at number 10, and it is from the This Charming Man 12-inch single or the CD, and it's Wonderful Woman. Now this song is actually probably the last Smiths song I actually ever heard, even though it's from their second single, because I never got the 12-inch single of it. I only managed to get this CD in the early 2000s. I think it's from 1992, and on initial hearing I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was a bit dirgy, a little bit of harmonica in it, it was very slow paced. But as I've been playing this in preparation for this video, I've started to really like this, but I can't replace it with anything. One thing that does let this down is the production. It's a Troy Tate production, and just while we're at it, this is a bootleg, by the way. This is the debut album by the Smiths, but it's done by Troy Tate and it features on this as well. And all I will say is I remember at the time people saying that the John Porter production was too slick. It's not. It's far better than the Troy Tate one. But Wonderful Woman, it is a good song, but still, if I did this video maybe in a year's time, it may not be in the top 10, so it gets my number 10. Okay, at number 9, and I remember being slightly disappointed with this as well. I have to say that I'm not including cover versions, and I'm not including instrumentals, and I'm also not including live tracks apart from Peel session songs. Only if the only version of the song available is a Peel session, and there's one coming up that is available as both a Peel session and an actual studio recording. So at number 9 then we have one of the B-sides of Sheila Take a Bow, and it is It Really So Strange. This I never really liked. I thought it was very much like Smiths by Numbers, and I think it's a Peel session. I'm not 100% sure, but there's no other version of it. It is decent enough again. It's not a bad song, but there's very little spark in this one. However, the next song on this 12-inch is Sweet and Tender Hooligan, which is only available on the 12-inch. And to me, that's the best song the Smiths did in 1987. It's absolutely magnificent. It's better than the A-side Sheila Take a Bow. So my number 9 is It Really So Strange. Okay, at number 8, and some people would actually agree with me, I think, on this one, but I'm sure there's an awful lot that will disagree. And it's from Strange Ways Here We Come. And it's Death of a Disco Dancer. Now I do like this now more than I did at the time. I hated it at the time. It is one of those sort of stereotypical Morrissey lyrics, talking about death and being miserable and all the rest of it. But you compare this song to say something like I Know It's Over from The Queen Is Dead, this doesn't stand a chance. It is psychedelic and it's almost freaks out a little bit. But to me it is a bit of a dirge, although as I said before I do enjoy it a little bit more, but it's never been one of my favourites. So at number 8 is Death of a Disco Dancer. Now at number 7 I'm going to give it to the debut single Hand in Glove. Now I will say that it is this version that gets in this top 10, not the remix version on the debut album, which is 100 times better. This was produced by the Smiths themselves, and there's loads of harmonica in it, and to be honest with you, I'm not keen on this. And this is also the version that got on Hatful of Hollow. It's got the fade in, and it's just nowhere near as good as the remix version. It's nowhere near as good as Sandie Shaw's either. So although it's a good song, the production of it is not great either. So number 7, Hand in Glove. And number 6, and we're going back to this this Charming Man CD single, and it's Accept Yourself. Now this was the first version that came out on this, and again I didn't hear this until the 2000s, but the Peel session was on Hatful of Hollow, and maybe it's because I know the Peel session version better, I prefer it, and this is another one of those Troy Tate productions, and it's not very good. The song's decent enough, but the production lets this one down, and so I would direct you towards the Peel session. I think it's much better. So number 6 is Accept Yourself. These are all still pretty good songs, you know, as I don't really dislike any of them. Same with number 5, and it's actually a B-side. Now I've only got the 7-inch single, and it's the B-side of the 12-inch version of Shakespeare's Sister. I'll just show the 7-inch, but it's not on that, but it is on the this album here, which is The World Won't Listen, and it's Stretch Out and Wait, and I just don't think it's a very good song, and it was recorded around the same time as Meet His Murder, and it was quite right not to put it on. It's a little acoustic number, and it's, I think, quite uninspired. But yet again, it's pleasant enough, but it's just not one of my favourites, so it gets my number 5. Now, the top 4 are the 4 that I actually don't like, and my number 4 for this one is from Strange Ways, Here We Come Again, and it stopped me if you've heard this one before. I never liked it. I remember getting the LP. I remember playing side 1, being slightly disappointed because I didn't really like Death of a Disco Dancer, and then the last song on side 1 I thought was worse. And the surprising thing for this was a huge hit single for Mark Ronson, and is it Daniel Merriweather or somebody in the early 2000s, a top 3 hit I believe. And I think this song itself for the Smiths was released in Europe as a single, but it's never resonated with me. I know a lot of people love this. I don't, never have, and it's my number 4. It's actually quite annoying the way he sings stop me, oh stop me. It just gets on my nerves a little bit. So that's my number 4. And at number 3 we have from the debut album, and it is Miserable Lie. What an album. It's a fantastic album apart from Miserable Lie. Starts off okay, it's very mellow and it's very soothing, and then it goes into this rage about Wally Range and all the rest of it, and almost very high pitched vocals, and it's sore in the ears. I've never liked it. It's always been a disappointment off this album. Everything else off this album I absolutely loved to bits, and there's a couple of B-sides around the same time, like Back to the Old House, or especially These Things Take Time, which I think should have been on this, but this is the one that got on, and it's never been a favourite of mine, and that's my number 3. My number 2, and it's from this album again, Strange Ways, Here We Come, and you'll understand this is my least favourite Smiths album, and it's Unhappy Birthday, and I just think it's bland, and I just there's nothing to it I like at all. It tries to be a nice little acoustic number, but I just do not think that there's any spark to the song whatsoever, and it just does nothing for me, and I guess my number 2. And my least favourite Smith song is the title track from Meet His Murder. I just don't like it. First of all, I don't really like the song. I can't stand the lyrics because I'm not a vegetarian. I can understand vegetarians really loving it, but it is very dirgy, and the noises of the animals getting slaughtered at the start, I just think is very distasteful actually. you know, but I'm not going to get into a vegetarian v carnivore row. But I just never liked it, never have. I've probably only played it about 5 times in my life. I did play it again for this video, and I just know it's not for me. But the rest of the album is absolutely fantastic. So this is the only song that's featured on this list from this album. So number 1 worst song for me is Meat Is Murder, and I wish they'd have called the album something else, whatever. Maybe Nowhere Fast, I think would have been a really good a title for the album. Okay, that's my rundown of my 10 worst Smith songs in my opinion. I know a lot of people will disagree, and that's fair enough, but if you do disagree, be kind in the comments, or be be respectful in the comments. Okay, that's me for now. All the best now. Bye bye.